my name is Hido, and welcome to this nightmarish hellscape that we find ourselves, where secret lairs are being revealed. And, well, it's the month of October, and fittingly, it's quite a horrifying one. It's Stranger Things, although stranger things have happened. Christ. But anyway, 11 has been spoiled, and here, let's have a look at what she does. Well, 11, the Mage. Is she a mage? I guess she sort of is. I think she is in, the Dungeons and Dragons sort of thing. I don't know. It's been a while since I watched this program. 4 mana for a 3/5 human wizard. Wizard? Your maximum hand size is 11. That's sort of cute. I like that. I like holding as many cards as possible. Whenever 11 the Mage attacks, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Then, if you have 11 or more cards in your hand, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. Ooh, that's pretty goddamn good, but you do have to have a lot of cards in your hand. So card draw is essential in this deck. But then, they're also friends forever. So friends forever, what is it? Basically, it's a different version of partner. Partner, you can have 2 of those commanders as your commanders, but this is exactly the same, but only for cards that have friends forever. So I assume, the rest of the not Dungeons and Dragons. The Stranger Things cards will have this mechanic, so you can, mix and match your commanders, which is cool because this is a Grixis commander, but you could maybe have green in there, white in there, a couple of different things you can do with it. So quite an interesting card, to be fair. A couple of interesting abilities. Everyone likes casting things for free, don't they? So without further ado, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be making a video like this for every single one of these cards, and there's a lot of them, isn't there? You want to know the best things about all of them, so come and join me on my magical journey. So let's have a look at 11 at number 5. And at number 5, we've actually got another character, Chief Jim Hopper. 4 mana for a 4/4, and this is one of the other Friends Forever cards. So this is red-white, so if we Friends Forever with our 11, this makes us into a 4-color deck, meaning we can play white cards as well. So it's got Menace, and whenever it attacks, investigate once for each non-token attacking creature. And then Friends Forever. This is really quite a good card. I really like how powerful this is. Giving card draw to, white is always good. And Boros, very aggressive, going to have a lot of nice attacking creatures. Although Jim does have to be attacking, so give him haste. Jobs are good. But I thought I'd talk about a couple of good cards for this commander, big spells that we could potentially play for free. Celestial Judgment is a white card, so you need to be playing a white Friends Forever. And has 6 mana for a sorcery. For each different power among creatures on the battlefield, choose a creature with that power. Destroy each creature not chosen this way. So the cool thing is you're casting the spell in the middle of combat here. So we can, cast this for free, and then while our commander's attacking, just destroy every one of our opponent's creatures, only keep our own creatures, bing bang bosh, everyone's dead. So a really nice include there. Similarly, we've got Austere Command. 6 mana for a sorcery, choose 2, destroy all artifacts, destroy all enchantments, destroy all creatures with convert mana cost 3 or less, destroy all creatures with convert mana cost 4 or less. So which 2 are we going to choose? Well, I wouldn't advocate for the destroy all creatures with mana cost 4 or greater, because our 11 will just explode. So I destroy all small things, maybe artifacts, enchantments, depending on how our opponents are playing. We're going to be playing quite a few cool, big enchantments. So, it mix and match at your own discretion. Then we've got Deploy the Gatewatch if you want to go down a sort of Super Friends sort of style deck. And Grixis is the home of Nicobolus, making a Nicobolus tribal deck with 11 as the commander. Well, you could possibly do it. Deploy the Gatewatch, 6 mana, sorcery, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put 2 Planeswalker cards from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Just shuffle them up and go underneath. Because, you've looked at 7, you've not seen a Planeswalker, you spent 6 mana to do nothing. Then, I'm sure we're going to have some green Friends Forever, so here's a couple of great green cards that you could put in this specific deck. Storm the Festival is a 6 mana sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put up to 2 permanent cards with mana value 5 or less from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Now, we've just talked about Deploy the Gatewatch, and, it's always a big joke that green, it just does everything better than white. Well, this card is basically a better deploy of the Gatewatch because it could hit artifacts, creatures, lands, not just planeswalkers. And oh, okay, we're not digging 2 extra cards, but this has flashback for 10 mana, so we just get to do it all over again. So green, truly the superior colour. Then we've got Seasons Past. Then a lot of this deck, we're going to be casting big spells for free. Then we want to be rebuying them back to our hands. So things like Season Past are phenomenal for that. 6 mana sorcery. Return any number of cards with different converted mana costs from your graveyard to your hand. Put Season Past on the bottom of its owner's library. So yes, you can't rebuy this later on because it's on the bottom, but you've bought back all your big cards and your incidental sort of removal. Then you can cast a couple of them for free with 11. Ooh, magnificent. Then similarly, we got Praetor's Council. 8 mana for a sorcery. Return all cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile it, and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. So, okay, 11 cards is good, but let's just, go infinitesimal, shall we not? But really cool card. Does exile itself, so you can't buy it back. But a great card to cast for free with the Commander. Which brings me on to number 4. And at number 4, speaking of maximum hand sizes, let's play around with that sort of idea with Triskaidekaphile. I think that's the way you say it. Look at those hands that she's pinning to the wall. How horrible. 2 mana for a 1/3 human wizard. You have no maximum hand size. So again, no maximum hand size, slightly larger than 11. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. And you can pay 4 mana to draw a card. So this, it really plays around with the same sort of things that our Commander is wanting to do. Our Commander, we want to get over 11 cards. All right, okay, let's just get to 13 and kill everyone in one big go. All attached to a 2 mana 1/3. Come on, man. Wizards print some big win condition sort of things like this in other colours other than blue. Then we've got Nezahal Primal Tide, another great way of increasing our hand size. 7 mana, 7/7, spell can't be countered. You know maximum hand size, and whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, draw a card. Really, really good there. Then discard 3 cards, exile Nezahal Primal Tide, return it to the battlefield, tapped under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. If we're up there with like 11, 12, 13 cards in hand, discarding 3 is nothing. It means literally nothing to us because our Commander draws a card when it attacks, and then we can just, carry on getting tons of advantage from our opponent's non-creature spells. Then a land that has an effect. I love it. Reliquary Tower, you have no maximum hand size. Tap for 1. Yeah, not much to say about this. It's just phenomenal. Although we are in a 3, potentially 4 or 5 colour deck, so playing colourless lands, there is a big downside to that. So be careful with how many you put in the deck. Then we've got a Body of Knowledge. I have a body of a god. It's not true. Throw at 5 mana for a star. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. So again, we're going to have a colossal amount of cards in our hand. Hopefully at least 11. And you have no maximum hand size. And whenever is dealt damage, draw that many cards. Really, really awesome. And if you may be playing something like a Blasphemous Act, you can Blasphemous Act this, draw 13, it becomes absolutely massive, and you just swing in to kill everyone. And you're not going to be discarding those cards. Then we've got Finale of Revelation, double blue and X for a sorcery. Draw X cards if X is 10 or more. Instead, shuffle your graveyard into your library, draw X cards, untap up to 5 lands. Always 5 lands. And you may have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Exile it. Boo. The exiling sucks. But this is a great card to just dump all your mana into, draw tons of cards, and hopefully we get that 10. Ooh, incredible. Then an interesting one here, and a direction that you could go down with this deck. You could build this into a sort of Nekazar style deck. And Price of Knowledge is a great card for that. 7 mana for an enchantment. Players have no maximum hand size. So that does, but also our opponents. Boo. Then, at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, Price of Knowledge deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. That's pretty goddamn good. If you wanted to go down the wheel route and you're filling everyone's hands with cards, this is just a game-ending threat. Then, look at this guy. Amazing. 1 mana for a 1/2. Trusted Advisor. He's a human advisor, and your maximum hand size is increased by 2. So that goes from 7 to 9, or 11 to 13. Ooh, spooky. At the beginning of your upkeep, return a blue creature to you control to its owner's hand. That's actually not too bad because it could just return itself. You redeploy it, and that increases your storm count by 1 if you maybe wanted to go down a storm route. Or if you've got some cool enter the battlefield effect, you know, maybe creatures that return instant sorceries from your graveyard to your hand, we could bounce them, reuse them, like Mnemonic Wall. Who doesn't love a wall? But this card, look at the artwork, just some cool old man. Which brings me on to number 3. And at number 3, this is all about big spells that you want to be playing for 3. And, you know, everyone likes to play a big splashy spell. I do, more than anyone. And this sort of effect is just amazing. Cruel Entertainment. 7 mana for a sorcery. Choose target player and another target player. The first player controls the second player during the second player's next turn. And the second player controls the first player during the first player's next turn. So, you mindslaver 2 people basically, or they mindslaver each other, and just shenanigans and craziness will ensue. It's not a competitive card, but by God, is it fun. I love this sort of effect. Mindslaver, genuinely one of my favourite cards ever printed. I love it to pieces. Other people hate it, or at least hate having it done to them, but amazing, amazing card. Great. And all of these are just big, splashy effects that you can possibly cast for free with our commander. Arcane Endeavour is a 7 mana sorcery. Roll 2d8 and choose 1 result. Very fitting for sort of Stranger Things, Dungeons and Dragons sort of card. Then you may cast an instant sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to the other result in your hand without paying its mana cost. Oh, and you draw cards equal to the other. I missed a sentence out there. So you roll 2d8. You know, you may draw 8 cards. You may draw 1. Or you may cast a 7-drop, 8-drop, or you may cast a 1-drop. So this is a great card to play for free because then we get to play something else for free and draw a ton of cards. It does everything the deck wants to do. Expropriate. What a card. What a miserable card. 9 mana for a sorcery. Cancels Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for time or money. I'll take the money. For each time vote, take an extra turn after this one. For each money vote, choose a permanent owned by the voter and gain control of it. Exile. Expropriate. So this is just a phenomenal game-winning card. And extra turns, spoilers are a little theme that I'd sort of throw into this deck in a bit. And this card, maybe you can also copy it as well. Maybe that's coming up. But this card is just phenomenal. Then we've got the Apex of Power. Me on a weekend. 10 mana for a sorcery. Exile the top 7 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among them. That's pretty good. It's not drawing cards, so it sort of plays slightly against what the deck wants to do. However, if the spell was cast from your hand, add 10 mana of any one colour. Although actually it's in the middle of combat. Okay, not that good. But if you've got a bunch of instants in the deck, it's just a cool card. I love the artwork. I thought I'd, talk about it. But I didn't actually think about the card before I made this video. Then we got Mnemonic Deluge, 9 mana for a sorcerer, exile target instant sorcery card from your graveyard, or a graveyard. Copy that card 3 times, triplicates, and you may cast the copies without paying their mana cost. Exile this. Really, really, really awesome here. This is exactly what we want to be doing. If you get a couple of big instant sorceries in your graveyard, playing this for free off our commander, we get to play anything 3 times. And that will win games, I'm not going to lie to you. Maybe you expropriate 3 times, maybe you just take 3 extra turns, something like that. Then, this will kill our commander if we play it. But this is the sort of big instant sorcery I like. It has cycling, the best mechanic ever printed, by the way. But it allows you to do something early in the game with it, and that's why I like cycling so much. Decree of Pain, 8 mana for a sorcery. Destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated. Draw a card for each creature destroyed this way. So it will kill our commander, but we'll draw a boatload of cards, which is good in the deck, spoilers. Then cycling for 5 mana, so discard it, draw a card. When you cycle it, all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. So our 11 will stay alive. Maybe we wipe out a board of tokens. This is a great card. If it gets stuck in your hand, just cycle it away for another card. Best mechanic ever. Then there's Capital Punishment. 6 mana for a sorcerer, cancels Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for death or taxes. Each opponent sacrifices a creature for each death vote and discards a card for each taxes vote. So a really, really big swingy effect, sort of a one-sided board wipe. Very, very good. Similar to that white card I talked about earlier. This can just wipe the board of everything apart from our commander or, whatever board state that we have. And if not, they're just going to discard a ton of cards. Great, great card. Which brings me on to number 2. And we've talked about all these instant and sorceries. Well, let's return them to our hand with things like Call to Mind. 3 mana for a sorcery, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So you return it back and you get to do the big thing all over again. And these are really nice because if we've played a big spell for free off our commander, then next turn we just play this for 3 mana and then we can play the big thing again for free when our commander attacks again. It just generates so much value. Oh God, turn my head. Said and done. 3 mana, said. Return target instant sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. And tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during the control's next untap step. I need to sort something out with that because I'm constantly throwing my neck out to kill them. But great, great card. Said is where it's at. The fact I've always picked these because they don't exile themselves. You can get them back maybe with some other effects and things like that. Then there's Narset's Reversal, 2 mana for an instant, copy target instant sorcery spell. You return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy. So this is great. We can use this on our own spells. So, you know, our big, massive spell, bounce it back to our hand after we've cast it free off our commander. Then we can redeploy it later in the turn or later next turn or something like that. Or you can just use it defensively on your opponent's big threat. Then there's Mystic Retrieval, 4 mana for a sorcery. Return your target instant sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. And then Flashback for 3 mana. Flashback, phenomenal mechanic. That does exile it from the graveyard, but if you just want to rebuy it itself or something like that, amazing. Then, if we're casting all these big instant sorceries, let's copy them with things like Swarm Intelligence. 7 mana for an enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, you may copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. That's it. Use your words correctly. Excellent, excellent card. And then I talked a bit about Storm. And then there's a Storm that's been rolling on for thousands of years. 6 mana for an enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant sorcery spell you've cast before it this turn. You may choose new targets for the copy. So you just have to set up a little bit, cast a couple of little, cantrips and things like that. And then we deploy something massive with our commander and we get tons of copies on it. And then Double Vision, completely opposite end of the spectrum here. 5 mana for an enchantment. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, copy that spell, you choose new targets for the copy. Amazing, amazing card. And copying all these cards that return things to our hand is phenomenal. You can even return, you can get, if you've got 2 of them on the go, you can cast one, get a copy of it, return the other return thing, get something big back, and you just keep looping them like that. Then, in at number 1, I hinted at it before, one of the best things to do with this card is, well, just attack more and take more turns. And Walk the Eons is a great example of it. Casting an extra turn spell for free is just ridiculous. 6 mana for a sorcery, buyback, sacrifice 3 islands, so 4 or 5 colour deck, not that easy to do. You sacrifice 3 islands and return it back to your hand, basically, as you cast it. And target player takes an extra turn. After this one, I'm going to pick me, personally. You can do whatever you want, though. It's your life. But taking extra turns in this deck, we get another attack trigger, another card draw, another free cast of something. And if we're buying back cards from the graveyard and things like that, we can cast more extra turns and just keep looping and looping and looping and attacking. Absolutely phenomenal. But you have to pick extra turn spells that go to the graveyard. And all 4 of these do. Time Warp, the classic. 5 mana for a sorcery. Target player takes an extra turn off this one. Again, it's me. Then there's Capture of Jin Zhao. 5 mana for a sorcery. Take an extra turn after this one. I don't think that one targets. I can't remember the updated wording on this, but I don't think it targets. Just like Temporal Manipulation doesn't. 5 mana for a sorcery. Take an extra turn after this one. Pretty cool, not complaining too much about it. I'm complaining slightly about it because 5 mana is too much. It should be 3 mana. But these are my thoughts, and they're all nonsense. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. 11 seems quite cool, and, I'd like to make some friends that last forever as well. Although probably playing EDH and taking extra turns infinitely isn't a way to do it. But, hey-ho, what can you do about it? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you soon. Bye.